Hey guys, and welcome back to Northwest Craftsman. Today we're going to be doing something that may seem a little bit tedious, but is something that is really important to the rest of your projects. But before we get started, I wanted to thank all of you for joining me on this channel. We just hit 100 subscribers. Now in the realm of YouTube, I know that that's pretty small. However, for us, that's a really huge deal. So if you're subscribed to the channel, I really appreciate it. If you are not subscribed to the channel and you're liking the content we're putting out, we'd love it if you guys could join us. But to get to the reason why you guys are here, today we're going to be working on flattening out my workbench and leveling the workbench, because when I made it all by hand, all the different pieces came together differently and there's different tolerances across the board. And this is a little bit what it looks like when I put a level across the whole surface. Alright, so if I take a big long level that goes right across the top, you can see by looking underneath, there is quite a bit of gap all the way across. Now, moving this direction, we're pretty good. We're pretty level because this is the direction that I planed it when I first had it. However, when I take it back and go perpendicular to that, you can see that I definitely spent more or less time planing in certain places. So it looks like I'm mostly bellied out on this guy, and I'm going to need to take the edges down. But that's what today's video is all about. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so I wasn't really expecting this, but literally on the first stroke that I took across, I took this gigantic gouge out of my workbench right here because it just went with the grain direction. And I was using my low-angle jack plane because it has the longest sole all the way across. But as I started using this, what I realized is one of the things my coworkers had told me is that the lower the angle of your blade, the more likely you are to tear into your grain. And so what I did is I switched over to my number 4, which has the blade mounted in a way that the bevel is a lot steeper, and so it's scraping across the top more than it is trying to cut underneath everything. And it works just like a charm. So I'm going to be switching over to this guy, but if you guys are having tear out issues, try using something that has a steeper angle of attack. So if you guys are looking for a good upper body workout, go ahead and and actually cardio, I guess, go ahead and plane the entire top of your workbench by hand, because that was far more of a workout than I expected to, and took about 2 hours to get the entire top of that done and level. But as I was going through this, I realized that I kind of wanted to walk you guys through the process, because I realized that there was kind of 3 distinct steps that I was going through as I was flattening the top of my workbench. So at the beginning of the video, you could see how I kind of lifted the level up so that you could see where the light was coming through, and that shows you where the spots are low. And so you want to knock off any of the spots that are right up with the level and holding it up. And as you slowly knock those down, they'll move across the level until slowly it brings it all the way down. Once you get it down to a certain point, the second step that you can go to is actually to start cross-planing. And you can see this as I went across the workbench, not necessarily with the grain of the wood, but across it. Now, the challenge that you're going to run into is that this can be a little bit rougher on your wood, especially if you're using something soft like pine. And so you'll see a lot more splintering, a lot more rough grain as it's kind of tearing at it rather than cutting it. However, what this is going to do is it's going to use your plane naturally to help smooth out the chunks, the bumps all the way across your workbench. And you'll see it by when you get a smooth action all the way across the top of your workbench. There was a couple of times that I'd feel it and there was zero break in how it was cutting. It was cutting smoothly all the way across, and that means that you don't have a lot of high spots and low spots, and whenever I would take the level back over the top of those, it'd be nice and flat all the way across. Now, because that is a little bit rougher on the grain, to get a nicer finish on this top, the last step that I went through, the third step that I went through, is to do one single pass or a couple of fine passes with the grain all the way across, just along the length of the 2x4s, and that really helped to give it a nice pristine finish. All right, well, here you guys go. Here's a quick look at it, and if you guys have any comments or questions about how I did this, go ahead and put it in the comment section down below. If you guys like these kind of videos, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I love it when you guys subscribe to the channel, and we love it when you subscribe to the channel, and we just hit 100 subscribers, so if you guys were a part of that, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time.